how to submit a winning Ergo Cup entry sponsored by the Applied Ergonomics Conference. I'm Heather Story, IIE's Director of Membership, and I'll be moderating today's webinar. I have a few opening instructions before I turn the program over to our featured speakers. During the presentation, all audience members will be muted. You may submit questions at any time during the presentation. When you have a question, please type it in the questions box on your webinar interface. Please craft the wording of your question as clearly as possible for the presenters. And after the presentation, I'll read as many questions for Monica and Wayne to answer as time allows. At this time, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Monica Matlis and Wayne Maynard.
Hello, my name is Monica Matlis, and I am the Ergo Cup co-chair with Wayne Maynard, and we're excited to be here today. Wayne, you want to say something?
Yes, thank you, Monica, and thanks for everyone for joining the webinar today. And Monica, I'll let you kick it off.
You got it. As a past attendee of many, many years of the Ergo Cup competition and actually participating in the Ergo competition, this is a very exciting presentation for us because it really will give you the skills of how to complete a good Ergo Cup application for selection and participation at the Ergo Conference in 2015. The goal of this competition, as you may know, is to recognize outstanding results from innovative ergonomic solutions, education, in the workplace. And what we really look into is innovation. One of the things that we really want you to understand is that innovation is defined as a new device or process created by study or experimentation. This is really a friendly competition, and anybody who can demonstrate, an effective solution or education initiative, hopefully within the last 24 months, is eligible to compete. And it's extremely important that you have a clear path on how to complete the application process for selection. One of the first questions you're going to have to decide, and it's very important that you do so, is which category of the 5 Ergo Cups you should be in. There's a new one this year, and I will discuss that in a few minutes. But there's the 5 that we are going to be discussing today are, number 1, the team-driven workplace solutions. The second one is the team-driven workplace solutions for companies with internal competition. The third one is engineering ergonomics-driven workplace solutions. The fourth one is engineering ergonomic-driven workplace solutions with internal competition, and this is the new one in 2015. And lastly, the Ergonomic Program Improvement Initiative. One of the things we want you to remember is that off-the-shelf item improvements will not be considered a good application for the Ergo Cup. Even if they have a great ergonomic solution, even if it generates a great ROI, even if it minimizes a lot of your risk factors, this will not be an acceptable application for the Ergo Cup. The first category, of course, it's the team-driven workplace solutions. And what we really want you to focus here is that at least 75% of the problem-solving effort was conducted by in-house individuals whose primary responsibilities involve the production and maintenance. We want the employees that were in that process to be involved in that process, in the problem-solving effort. Some technical support by in-house health and safety, engineering, ergonomists, as part of the team members or as a supportive part of the team can be in this application. And one very important item is like some companies use support from outside consultants, and that's fine, but you do have to realize that only the company representatives that are part of that company itself can be part of the booth if selected to participate as an Ergo Cup contestant. And this is extremely important that you realize that. The next one is the team-driven workplace solutions with internal competitions, which is identical to the team-driven workplace solutions category. The only difference is that this organization, your organization, has had some sort of internal competition to select who comes into the Ergo Cup competition, to the International Ergo Cup competition. That's the base difference. Some companies are, only bring those. So we want to make sure that you fall in the, in the category that you really belong to, so that internal competition teams compete against internal competition teams, and non-internal competition teams can compete with those. The next category, which is number 3, is the Engineering Ergonomist-driven Workplace Solutions Ergo Cup application. Again, 75% of the problem solving should be conducted by in-house engineers and ergonomists, basically technical people, technical experts are working on this. Some technical support from outside consultant is permitted, but again, most of the activities are conducted by the in-house resources, employees, whoever that may be. And again, only company representatives are permitted on the presentation team if selected on the Ergo Cup booth. And you're going to see this as a recurring message because it's extremely important not to have people that are non-company representatives at the booth. The next category, which is the newest category we've added since last year, is the same one as before, the Engineering Ergonomics-driven Workplace Solutions with the internal competition. Again, we want those teams, we would like those teams that have internal cup competitions to compete in their own separate Ergo Cup. This way, we can balance out the number of internal versus non-internal competition teams. The last one, it's the Ergonomics Program Improvements Initiative. And this is a very interesting category because this is an ergonomics program. What have you done to improve the effectiveness of your company's ergonomics program? And that can be with many things. It could be amazing ergonomics training programs. It can be that you incorporated ergonomics into your change of management system, a risk assessment program that you've created for your company, a way to return to work, office ergonomics programs, ergonomics prioritization systems, anything that you think that does not fall in the first 4 categories but has to do with ergonomics program improvement would fall under this category.
Monica, this is Wayne. If I can just reemphasize, your comment that you had made a few minutes ago relative to the internal competition share, new to 2015, is the Engineering Ergonomist internal competition category. In previous years, we've left it flexible. Even if you've had an internal competition, that you can, submit to whatever category you want it. But this year, it's going to be much different. So, indeed, if you have an internal competition, please submit your registration to the internal competition categories. The team-based solutions or the engineering ergonomist. So I just wanted to reemphasize that. Thank you.
You got it. Now, this section of the presentation is merely focused on how you submit your application and what's the content that is key for the success of an Ergo Cup application. This is a screenshot from the website for the Applied Ergonomics Conference 2015. And as you see with the orange circles, you'll see where the Ergo Cup Awards, you will click on that, and you will go to the Submit section to click to submit your application. Again, I'm going to reiterate, this is extremely important for us, the judges, and the judging committee to be able to select the applications in a timely manner for notification. We need to have the applications be submitted in by no later than November 30th, 2014. So once you hit on that submit here, you will see a section that will tell you 2015 Ergo Cup proposal submission. If you click the one above it, this one right here, you will be submitting an abstract for submission. Again, you want to go for the Ergo Cup submission. Just remember that you need to follow the steps to submit your application, and there's a small registration process you need to go to be able to submit your application. And the information you're going to have ready is the following. The main contact information, also known as the author of the application. The second, you need to make sure we know the name of the organization or company. Who's the team leader's name, if there's a team leader of the project. Sometimes it might be the same. Sometimes it be 2 different people. What's their first and last name? Their title, their address, city, state, postal zip, the country you're submitting your application from, your phone, your fax, your email, and any team members that are going to be or will be participating in the Ergo Cup application process. Once you enter that information, and you will be taken to the screen, and this screen is extremely important. Here you're going to have to make sure you select and click where it says I acknowledge the fact that if you do get selected as an Ergo Cup finalist, basically coming to the 2015 Applied Ergonomics Conference and present a booth, you will be creating your own Ergo booth. You will be bringing all the equipment materials that you need to, and that 2 representatives must come to the conference for the booth. The reason behind that is because you want to make sure you give yourself breaks during the conference, and there's people there to talk as many of the attendees as possible. You will also receive a discounted registration fee for Ergo Cup team members, so it's extremely important that the team names are listed here. So once you acknowledge and you write down the team members, you will go to the next section of the application, which again, here is where you need to select which of the categories you will be participating in. If you have any questions or are in doubt of which of the which of the categories you need to be to, please feel free to contact either Wayne or myself to discuss this. We could definitely help you out. It's not a problem whatsoever. It actually makes our lives a little easier because sometimes then we have to, if you're in the wrong category, we might have to call you back and say, you're in the wrong category. We're going to have to move you to this one. We want to make sure you're okay with that. We don't want to have to go through that during the review process. We'd rather do that ahead of time. So in this slide, slide number 14, it's called the general information slide. And here you will enter the location of the plant where the project actually took place. And you're going to tell us where that is. You will also tell us where is the location of the corporate headquarters. And the reason is behind that. Sometimes we have, these might be the same thing, or these might be, different locations. You might have a location, the plant itself may be in Georgia, and the location may be in California, or the corporate organizations. And lastly, you will tell us the title of your entry, and please, please, please try to limit this to 10 words or less. We've had sometimes applications that have, a thesis for the title. We really want to make it short and simple and straight to the point and easier for us to review. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter. Here's the really good information we need to hear from you. You need to include at least 50 to 100 word description. Again, here, this is the description of the project itself. This is where you grab our attention, the judges, the judging group. We will look at this. We want to look for, for us to be able to understand it. Just be careful to use a description that we can all understand, not something that you will be using internal in your company, and it will make it a little difficult for us to understand your terms. So tell us a little bit about the project itself. Give us an outline of the project description, et cetera, whatever you think, but keep it to about 100 words or less. After that, we would like to see a couple of sentences of, a description again of what the actual problem was or your issue was. You should be as quantitative as possible and keep it brief and straight to the point. We need to be able to understand it. We review, I don't know how many we've done in the last 2 years. Wayne can always tell us how many has that been. But it's so many of them. We need to make sure that you're straight to the point. Tell us what the problem is. Get there to the point. This slide is extremely, extremely important because once you provide that information of what was the problem, you're going to tell us what was your solution. How did you get there? You have to remember we need to understand it. And we also, I would recommend highly, we all recommend highly that your solution should be in place for at least 1 year. The reason for that is that way you can have really impressive or very core sound, measurable metrics, outcomes. For the past few years, we have been seeing a little, weak return on investments. We really want to see strong return on investments. We want to see quantified risk reductions. We want to see the metrics of safety, quality, delivery, and cost. One of the things that I've told other people is that if your measurable outcomes starts with, well, we think the return on investment might be, or the quantified risk reduction might be this, or it might be that, then you might not be ready for the competition. I mean, you might want to wait, another year, and at that point, do your submission. You want to get selected by having really measurable outcomes, and these are extremely critical. And please be as specific as you can. Wayne, do you want to add something here?
I do. Thanks, Monica. I mean, obviously, the Ergo Cup competition is one of the highlights of the conference, and the attendees to the conference, are attracted to the Ergo Cup competition because they get to see success stories. They learn, from the successes that the various Ergo Cup teams achieved and so on. So the ROI helps them state their case. Everyone has similar issues, similar problems, so they want to see what worked well for you. So in addition to injury incidents and cost savings, for example, if you show productivity improvements, the known benefits of ergonomics, if you will, including productivity, including quality, including efficiency, and some of the metrics that you use, to achieve those results, that is what the attendees want to hear. They want to learn from that and maybe even take away, from the conference, information that they can help sell their interventions as well. So, that ROI, the Ergo Cup Committee, when we review the registrations in the fall, and we get in the neighborhood of 60 or 70 a year, and I'm going to say, I don't know, we probably the number one reason why an entry isn't accepted to the competition is because the ROI isn't stated as objectively as we wished it was. So I just want to emphasize that ROI is so important, and that's exactly what the attendees want to hear and see during your presentations. So thank you, Monica, for that.
Wayne, as a past participant of the Ergo Cup and as a past person who would review these applications, I was very much into looking, what are your measurable outcomes? And again, if the ROI or the risk reduction metrics or any other type of safety metrics or whatever it was not strong enough, I would recommend, hey, let's wait a little bit. Or I would say, let's go back and really see what those are or be more clear about them so that they select you as a finalist. Again, the goal here is you want to come to the Ergo Cup. You want to participate. So things that we, that a lot of people ask us is, what is the judging criteria? We look at few things, but these are the most important ones. Again, we look at how the program improvement is innovative, whatever that was. How innovative was it that you came up with your solution? That you have clear, measurable performance objectives that were met. How was your improvement approach? Was it simple and straightforward? Is it sustainable? Did it lead to significant ergonomic solutions on our preventions of risk exposures? It's really, when we come to judging, you want to have a strong application. And by the way, the picture you're seeing on the presentation was from last year's conference, the judges looking at one of the Ergo Cup participants that was selected to attend. So we're very critical about that, and we look at things very, very closely to understand what your problem is, what is it that that you have tried to accomplish, and how did you get there. Also, again, does the lead to business gains, the ROI, as Wayne mentioned? What are the reductions of the feasibility cost? If you have that. And again, as Wayne mentioned, ROI should be actual results in places at least 1 year. And the last thing we look at is presentation quality. Was it excellent, including problem statement, clear description, metrics, and visuals? These are all going to help us come up with who's going to be the Ergo Cup winner eventually. This is an example of one of the judging documents that we use, and we write, this actually is for one of the awards we give out, but again, it shows you what we use for judging. We go through every single one of the booths, and we look at all of the different innovation, how simple, simplicity, cost savings, ergonomic risk, presentation quality. We take all this into considerations once you have made it to the Ergo Cup. Okay, so a lot of people ask Wayne, as a past Ergo Cup participants, ask me, who are the judges? Who do you select to judge? And we'll have to tell you, it's a very interesting process we go through. we don't just select anybody who volunteers. They're judges who are experienced practitioners in the field of ergonomics. They've done it. They've either been an ergonomist or consultant or led ergonomics programs. They've all been there. They're made up of Ergo Cup Committee members, which you're going to see the names in a few minutes, and or attending judging panel volunteers, most with multi-year experience. A lot of the Ergo Cup judges we've had, especially in the past, have done it for multiple years. They really enjoy the judging process of the Ergo Cup and are extremely experienced in it now, and they know what really is required to win an Ergo Cup.
Can I comment on that too, Monica?
Sure, go ahead.
Just on the judges, because a question that I get, quite a bit, and even on the Ergo Cup Committee, is there education requirements? Is there certification requirements? And there are not. So you don't have a college degree isn't even required. A certification isn't required. What we're looking for as judges, and really the Ergo Cup Committee, is that experience. And if you think of, in the Ergo Cup, in the booths themselves, the individuals in the booth, an Ergo Cup team, an Ergo team member, someone who's participated on an ergonomics team, in the workplace, for example, would make a great, potential judge, down the road. So I just wanted to mention that to be on the committee, to be on a judge, there are no educational requirements, there are no certification requirements. What we look for are those who truly have the experience out there in whatever level of ergonomics, whether it be in a leadership role or on a team role, that can take a look and listen to the discussions, the presentations, and make a good judgment, if you will, on that registration. So the scoring sheet that Monica had showed you just a second ago, it's a 5-point scale that we use. It's a very, very difficult process to judge the contestants, and nevertheless we have to pick a winner. It's just not easy to do, and but the judges themselves have to meet a certain set of experience criteria that we look for, and so I just wanted to make that point, Monica.
No, thank you, Wayne. I've been a judge for the past few years now. It's an extremely exhausting experience, but we try to be as fair as we can, and we look at everybody in a very extremely fair way. We judge them based on the criteria, and at the end we get together and we discuss, and we have discussions, and we rank and we rate. So it's not an easy process. So the judges we thank them for volunteering, and also for the Ergo Cup Committee members, because we go through all these applications, and we've got to select the ones that we feel are going to provide the next level of Ergo Cup participants, and then when at the conference, the next Ergo Cup winners. This year, we've got a few Ergo Cup committee members, and this is a list for you to look at. We've got people from all over the industry. We got from pharma industry, we've got from the automotive, we've got from education, we've got from consultants, we've got universities all here. So we've got all levels and all types of Ergo Cup committee members, and these will be the ones that will take the first stab at looking at all the applications and saying, yes, this one definitely should move on, or this one we have to follow up with, or this one will definitely not move on. Any questions about that? Hopefully not. Okay, the judging at the Ergo Conference, as we mentioned a little bit before, there's going to be 5 categories this year, because there's going to be 5 Ergo Cups. But at the same time, there's going to be another 5 excellence awards that are offered and presented at the conference, and they're voted by conference attendees. So you come, you're selected as an Ergo Cup finalist, you come present your booth, you also have a chance of not only winning an Ergo Cup, but you can also win one of these 5 awards. They are the Innovation Award, the Simplicity Award, the Cost Savings ROI Award, Ergonomic Risk Reduction Awards, and Presentation Quality. These are voted on by the attendees, and there's a time when you have to submit your vote. And it's an extremely very happy moment. It's really, really nice. It gives an opportunity to recognize all different types of presentations that might be there, that you might want to vote for your favorite to win one of these awards as well. just to give you a highlight of what is going to happen, what we're planning to do next year at the conference is that we already have a very specific agenda for the Ergo Cup teams once you've selected as an Ergo Cup finalist. And hopefully by the 16th of March 2015, that is a Monday, the teams that have been selected will be coming in and setting up their booths, but they need to finish setting up by 4 o'clock on that day. The reason we want everybody to set up by 4 o'clock in the afternoon is because at 5 o'clock there's going to be a network reception where everybody who attends the conference comes in and looks at all the different vendors. Ergo Cup's booth will not be open this year during that time, giving the Ergo Cup team members some time to also look at the vendors that come in and participate and also network with other non-Ergo Cup participants that attend the conference. On Tuesday, March 17th, there's going to be at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning, there will be an Ergo Cup team members networking in the West Exhibit Hall. And that is only, again, I'm going to reiterate, only for Ergo Cup team members. And that is so that you can network and go see your other Ergo Cup booths. We've got sometimes teams that have been at the competition that would like to see the other teams, other booths, and they haven't had a chance. This is the opportunity to do so and to also network with other Ergo Cup members. From 10:45 to 2 o'clock in the 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the exhibits and Ergo Cup booths will be open. And what usually happens is judging starts at this time. And all the teams will know when they will be judged. We will have a pre-printed time slot for your Ergo Cup team if you're selected as a finalist, and you will know when you get there. You will have 15 minutes to do your show, to tell the judges what the message is, to let the judges play with your presentation, touch, feel, whatever it is that you're going to be doing at the time. That's a great time to do so. Then at 3:30 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, there's going to be an afternoon network social for everybody, again, to be opened. Sometimes Ergo Cup judging may run a few minutes late, but we as judges will come back and tell you we're running 5 minutes late, or would you feel more comfortable being judged at this time after the break, whatever. But we judges make sure that you are constantly being communicated with and letting you know the status of your judging and when the judging is also completed. Again, then on March 18th, a Wednesday morning, you will have another opportunity from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning to, again, network with your Ergo Cup team members, other booths you want to go see, and you should be able to walk around and enjoy and learn from these Ergo Cup booths. They have taken the time to travel from all over the world to be there, and it's really, really an honor for them to be there and to showcase their presentations with you. Again, the continuation of the voting occurs between 10:45 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and from 2 to 6 p.m., Ergo Cups and any of the exhibitors, the vendors, will be tearing down their booths, and the actual Ergo Cup competition is officially closed. At that point, the judges usually get together. We're finalizing who has won the different Ergo Cups, and the only ones that will know next year will be Wen and myself, and they will be announced the next day during the 11:30 to 1 o'clock p.m., which is the Ergo Cup Competition Awards ceremony on the 19th of March. One of the things that Wayne and I really want you to remember is that it's all about innovation. We look at Ergo Cups as ways to showcase what you have come up with, the solutions you've come up with, and to learn from each other. This is a friendly competition. The judges are volunteers. The competitors are all volunteers who've taken the time to be there. It's really an emotional and very, very happy moment for the winners and also for all of us who are there. All of their teams are given the opportunity to present their Ergo Cups to the judges, to the conference attendees. It is really important that you take the time to go see them. And again, we want to reiterate, very important, that off-the-shelf improvements will not be considered, even if they have great solutions and generate excellent ROI. Off-the-shelf solutions really do not work with innovation. We want great innovative ways of coming up with solutions for your Ergo Cups. So here's our questions section. Does anybody have any questions? Wayne, do you want to reiterate anything else before we start with the questions?
I do just one thing. In fact, it's in line with the questions here as well, because probably the most frequent question I get is there a limit on the number of Ergo Cup registrations that we accept to the conference, and is there a waiting list? So the answer to the question is I've been involved with the Ergo Cup for many years. I actually forget how many years, over 10. I mean, this is like the 18th. I think Heather said this is the 18th conference. I think I've been to 15 of them, maybe 16, not all 18. But in the Ergo Cup, certainly maybe over 10 years, 10 to 15, 10 to 12 years maybe, and we get maybe 60, 70 registrations about that. If 60, 70 registrations met our qualifications and criteria, we would accept every single one of them. We never have, but the IIE, the Institute of Industrial Engineers, the Applied Ergo Group, Conference Group, the committee, we've never had the issue of saying, well, we've accepted too many. So whatever the registrations are, we select the best. If they tell the story that we feel the Applied Ergo attendees want to hear, meets the criteria that Monica had said, especially innovation and simplicity, we'll accept them. Good ROI, all of that. I've never been involved in a situation where the Institute of Industrial Engineers has said, Wayne, we have too many, we need to cut back. So we take the best. There's not a waiting list. So that's the most common question I get on that. So with that, Heather, are there any other questions that have come through the chat?
Thank you very much, folks. We'll now begin the question and answer portion of the presentation. As a reminder, if you have a question, please type it in the questions box of your webinar interface and craft the wording of your question as clearly as you can for the presenters, and I'll read as many questions to Monica and Wayne to answer as time allows. As a reminder, both the PowerPoint and the recorded version of the presentation will be made available online on the webinars page at the Applied Ergonomics website, and we'll email you that link next week. Let's see what we've got in the way of questions. First question is, why are there 5 Ergo Cup categories this year?
This is Wayne. I'll start it. The 5, we added a 5th, and it was the Engineering Ergonomists Internal Competition Group. And the ideas and recommendations for new cups come from the Ergo Cup registrations, those who have participated in the past, and also the Ergo Cup Committee and judges. I will say one of the growing categories and challenges to judge is the Engineer Ergonomist category, which is in the past was mixed up with the internal competition and otherwise. And Monica, I forget, but it was in the neighborhood of like 18 in that group last year, which is a lot. And it's actually, I don't know, unfair, if you will, to have someone who runs an internal competition who, very experienced in the Ergo Cup, environment, competing, if you will, with those who might be new. So we thought 2 reasons to add that 5th this year. One is to make it easier to judge, and it makes sense, to take away the internal competition group and have a separate, category for them. And then the other category, the non-internal competition group. So it's easy to judge and probably more fair in the competition area, and that's why we did that. So recommendations, as I say, in summary, come from 2 ways: the Ergo Cup Committee, those in the Ergo Cup community, competition, and the judges themselves. So that's how we ended up with 5. And we've evolved. I mean, I can remember just a few years ago we had 3 cups, and now we have 5, mostly because of the internal competition category.
All right, thank you very much.
And I also always credit Jose Benet from Honda for recommending that as well. The internal competition cup. So if Jose is on the line, thank you, Jose. Anyway, go ahead, Heather.
Not a problem. So the next question starts out, not meaning to insinuate anything here, but why are there a few Ergo Cup committee members who are part of organizations or companies which typically participate in the Ergo Cup?
Well, let me. This is Wayne, and I'll start that. Most of the Ergo Cup committee members are those individuals who actually ask to be, part of the Ergo Cup committee. So they meet the criteria for experience. Many of the, not many, but some of the Ergo Cup, committee members and judges, been there, done that, lived that. So they also, have that experience and bring, value to that end of it. However, what does not happen and will never happen is that an Ergo Cup committee member and or judge will never judge a company, an entry, if you will, that is of their own company. So if someone works for, ABC company, and ABC company is a competitor, they will not judge that group that has that company in it. So we try and balance that as well. Hopefully that answers the question. And Monica, I know you and I talked about this as well.
Yeah, that's a question that we've been asked in the past, and we make it very clear, especially during the judging of the Ergo Cup, is that if you've got a company, if you've got a booth in a specific judging category, you will not participate in that judging of the category at all. So sometimes it just minimizes the amount of teams that they can, the amount of categories they can judge, but also gives them the experience of what is it to judge, because a lot of times we've been asked, how come I can't judge? When in reality they can, as long as they don't have a team or a category, a booth in that category, and it's good for them to experience the judging so that they see that it's an extremely fair and an extremely honest process that we go through.
Thank you both very much. We don't have any further questions at this time. Do you all have any comments? We'll give it a minute to see if any questions come in, or would you like to wrap up?
Well, this is Wayne, and let me just wrap up and emphasize what Monica had mentioned on her previous slide, that this is a friendly competition. In fact, I don't know if I wish there was a better, competition sounds like exactly that, a competition. I guess maybe it is, but what we're doing in the Ergo Cup, and this is so important, is that we are celebrating ergonomics. What it is, design of work, tasks, equipment, organizations, for the benefit of the worker. And, and that benefit, as we all know, includes physical and mental and all the classic, what we talk about what ergonomics is, but also about performance of human beings in their work environment or whatever environment. So what we're doing here is celebrating ergonomics in terms of safety, ergonomics in terms of productivity, business, results, impact on the bottom line. And that's what we do here. And it is unique. The Ergo Cup is very unique. It's probably it is the highlight of the conference. I enjoy it a lot. It's why I've been involved, so many years in this. But it is friendly. It is celebratory. We're celebrating results, and let's just always never lose sight of that.
Wayne, this is Monica. I echo your comments. It's an extremely happy moment. It's a lot of work. We, Wayne and I and the Ergo Cup Committee, we work extremely hard behind the scenes to make it a successful and very celebratory moment, and it is. It really is. And that's why we do it year after year, and we volunteer our time. You have to realize we are volunteers to help with this process and to celebrate ergonomics and to move ergonomics to the next level. So I really thank everybody for sending their applications. We look forward to those. Make sure you get them in by November 30th so we can get back to you by the end of December. And we look forward to the 2015 Ergo Cup competition. It's going to be very exciting and amazing. It really is. I encourage everybody who can send an application in, please do so. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to contact us at any time.
Well, speaking of questions, there is one more if you want to take it.
Sure.
And that is, what are the most important things to display at your booth?
Honestly, it's not about how pretty your booth is. It's about what gets your message across. We do have a webinar on that if you want to look at that, which was recorded a couple of years ago, which tells you how to put together a winning Ergo Cup booth. But in reality, what the judges look for are, what was your problem? How did you fix it? How did you do that? And the way you get that message across. Different teams do different things. Some people do it with videos. Some people do it with posters. Some people do it with, having simulations of what they actually fixed. But one thing we do really want is some sort of a brochure that tells us, summarizes for us, what exactly was the before, after, with all the metrics and all the information that is in the application for the Ergo Cups. That's very important. But we judges, honestly, we're not impressed at how pretty your booth looks. It's all about what gets your message across. And we've seen Ergo Cups being won by extremely simple booths, and they deserved it in every single way. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, and if I can just build onto that, I think the booth size is 10 by 10, 10 by 10, 10 by 12, something like that. Just keep in mind, we have to, keep your displays and your presentation material, within the constraints of the booth. What we've noticed is some booths seem, they're going higher and higher. Mm-hmm. So we just want to make sure that, you're within the constraints of the booth. I think we had a couple of comments last year to some of the registrants that, they were getting a little fancy, higher and higher in their display. So we just got to keep an eye on that. Some have asked us about raffles. Can we have a raffle? The answer is no, because we don't want to give the impression that anyone has any kind of, advantage. Most of that is on the Excellence Awards, perhaps, but just trying to level the competition, if you will, keep everything relatively consistent and within constraints. Hopefully that makes sense. Good question.
All right, folks. Yeah, and there is a question about where do you find registration information for next year's Ergo Cup, and I'll tell you that we will be sure to include that in the email we send with the link to this presentation. Unless you guys have anything else to add, then we'll go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah, I'm all set, and again, thanks everyone for attending, and thank you, and hopefully we'll see your registration this fall and helping us celebrate what ergonomics is really all about. So again, thanks everyone for attending. Thank you, Monica, for the excellent job you did.
Thanks everybody for attending, and let's let the Ergo Cup competition begin.
On behalf of the Applied Ergonomics Conference, I'd like to thank Monica and Wayne for sharing their time and presentation today. I'd also like to thank you, our attendees, for joining us. The 18th Annual Applied Ergonomics Conference will be held March 16th to 19th, 2015 in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's focused on practical applications of ergonomics in a variety of work settings with real-world examples from companies that have implemented programs ensuring safe performance. Stay tuned for updates at www.appliedergoconference.org. This concludes today's webinar. You may now log off.